What's going on, everybody? So, yes, the day has finally come. I've officially gotten my hands on the Lenovo Legion Go. And this is pretty much my first impressions video. I literally just unboxed it and started playing a few games, just one or two games, just to see exactly how this system performs versus the ROG Ally, since I've been using the ROG Ally for more than a year. I thought, why not try some of the competitors? So I went out and got a Lenovo Legion Go today. And this was the 1 terabyte version of the system. And initially, while unboxing it, everything seemed pretty standard, except for the fact that the Legion Go came inside of a case similar to the Steam Deck. Now, the ROG Ally does not provide you with a case when you buy the system alone. You have to actually buy an additional case along with the ROG Ally. So to have a case included with the Lenovo Legion Go was very nice, and I felt like I was being spoiled a little bit because this case is very sturdy and it comes with a decent amount of compartments. So that was a nice addition to the overall package with the Legion Go. But getting further into the system, I guess what I noticed initially was the fact that the Legion Go has very shallow triggers, and they don't really go obviously that far up, but they don't feel very good either compared to something like a Steam Deck or an ROG Ally. But the face buttons feel pretty good. Very standard feeling. Doesn't feel like they went above and beyond when it came to the quality of this handheld. But there are sure as hell a ton of buttons on each of the Joy-Con-esque controllers. Now you can detach the controllers, obviously, but you're required to press some kind of switch in the back that you have to sort of flip outward, and then you have to shift the controllers downward in order to take them out of the system. I don't really like that. I wish they were magnetic or something, because it is a bit complicated trying to take the system out and a bit cumbersome when you have the system docked already and you just want to kind of do that switch effect where you sort of take the controllers out vertically upwards instead of downwards. So you have to shift it downwards and then pull it out, which is kind of strange in my opinion. I really don't like to detach these controllers. They don't feel very comfortable to detach. But speaking of how comfortable they are, while you're playing in handheld mode, they're okay. They're very big, but also very circular as well. Primarily when you detach the controllers, that's when they feel a lot more appropriate and sort of similar to a Wiimote. That's what it kind of reminds me of. It's very comfortable to hold while you're playing detached. So that's a positive. Besides that, we have Legion Space, which is kind of complicated, just like the controllers. It has a ton of options for you to choose from, but overall it acts like sort of Armory Crate and Steam in terms of the power wattage, but seeing how the CPU wattage isn't exactly represented with its metric display, I find that a little strange. The fact that you can't see how many watts are currently in use when displaying all of that information. You can see how much battery life you have left, which most of the time it's around 30 to 20 minutes because you're most likely going to be in like 40 or 30%, which is around 20 minutes. So far for the first 2 hours, while playing the Legion Go and charging at the same time, it seemed to either keep the battery life at exactly the same amount for that entire time, and I did use the official wall charger for it, but the battery didn't seem to increase very much with even the stock charger. So that's a bit of a letdown, the fact that it doesn't fast charge as well as even a Steam Deck in my opinion. So I was left at 30 to 40% for most of my gameplay that you see here because, well, I wasn't using the wall charger. I had to resort to using a power bank because I didn't want to wait all day for this thing to charge. So charging for the Legion Go seems kind of slow. So I guess that was a bit of a disappointment. But going back into the controllers themselves, the analog stick has sort of a deep curve into it that doesn't exactly feel comfortable when you're using it detached. And also, it's a bit of a shallow analog stick. It has a bit of tension, so it's not as loose as the ROG Ally Originals analog stick, but it's not as comfortable as the ROG Ally X's analog stick, obviously, because they've had more time to fine-tune the controller face buttons and analog sticks. So there's that, but moving on to performance. At first, while playing Marvel Spider-Man, this game was dragging at around 12 to 15 FPS at first. And then I plugged the system in and it started working a lot better, being around 30 to 45 FPS at 1200p. And yes, by default, the Legion Go goes to 1200p or even 1600p, but most games are better to play in 1200p because you're not going to get very much FPS. But considering that it goes all the way up to 1600p, the FPS was kind of impressive, honestly. Now, like I said before, this is my first impression, so I don't know everything about this system. I didn't really look super deep into it, but so far I'm very impressed how it performs at 1600p, especially with Marvel's Spider-Man. It looks amazing and it performs very well. But there are those instances when you unplug it where it starts dragging the FPS down to 12 or 15. And then for some reason, the performance increases after about a minute. It seems like the Legion Go is struggling to figure out what kind of power profile to perform under while being charged or on battery. So that's a bit strange. And this is with the latest Legion Go updates, but I'm pretty sure there's even more updates to have. But so far, it was a straightforward process in terms of Windows updates and Legion Space updates. And yes, we are using Legion Space, and boy, there are a lot of things on the Legion Space homepage. It was a bit overwhelming, but with the 1600p screen, everything looked so beautiful. So it was a welcome addition since it really showcases the clarity and the deep colors on the Legion Go screen. And yes, of course, the best feature about the Legion Go is the screen. There's no denying it. It has a better screen than every other handheld I've ever tried, especially the fact that it's 1600p. I just absolutely love this screen. It's the saving grace of everything for this system. But with that said, I think everything else needs a lot of work. Even though it's been almost a year for the Legion Go, I'm surprised to see that some of the software really doesn't react well to other applications, like the fact that you have to reattach the controllers after turning off or putting the Legion Go to sleep and then turning it back on again. It is cool that you can turn off the Bluetooth feature, but it does kind of suck that you have to reconnect these controllers and disconnect them just to use them with your Legion Go detached. And I find that to be counterintuitive and very annoying on my part because I don't like detaching and reconnecting these controllers. They're not very comfortable to do so. So having to do that every single time I put this thing to sleep or in hibernation mode is annoying. But not everything was negative about the Legion Go. I do love the screen, and the faster RAM does support this system and makes it perform better than the original ROG Ally in some instances. There are a surprising amount of times where games that normally wouldn't lag start lagging. So the Legion Go does lag a lot. And it does lag a bit more than the ROG Ally. But that's not something that I didn't expect. I mean, we're playing on a Windows device. But the fact that you are caching these shaders while you play into the internal SSD and still getting a decent amount of lag and slowdown is very disappointing. But I can just put an SD card in there and it could cache in there anytime, so I don't really care about that. I don't really care about all the lag because I like to save space anyway. I'm glad that my Legion Go has 1 terabyte SSD in it. I plan on keeping that for the remainder of the time that I have this handheld because the 512 gigabyte for the ROG Ally seemed good enough. But going back into the performance, Legion Space provides a lot of options for you in terms of pretty much everything. I mean, this thing is like the Armory Crate and the Steam Deck settings put together. There's just too many options, and I find that to be a very good thing, but also kind of annoying, since a lot of the times you're going to be sifting through this menu not remembering where everything is. It's definitely nowhere near as simple as Armory Crate with its pop-up command center menu. With Legion Space, it has everything in one place. So that means you can fix the lighting, the vibration, obviously CPU, wattage settings, battery life, everything in this one menu. That's a very good thing, like I said, but also sometimes I just get lost and I'm like, wait, where the hell is the performance options again? Oh, it's that triangle or it's that diamond shape, because it doesn't exactly have a word for everything that you're picking out. It just has these symbols and we're expected to know exactly what they are. Now, when first booting up Legion Space, it has sort of a tutorial for everything, but the tutorial tries not to overwhelm you. So it tells you about 6 things and then it dips out. So for the most part, I didn't understand 90% of the menu. I had to figure everything out myself. So I'm still in the learning process. I feel like learning is a very positive thing. It's a great thing. So I'm not having a bad time with it. I love learning new things. Don't get me wrong on that. But I can see this getting really annoying. But the most annoying part about Legion Space, if there's anything that's annoying, is the fact that the Legion Space buttons are on the top left and the top right. I mean, since the dawn of time, select and start have been on the top left and top right. I'm not sure what went through the people at Lenovo's minds, but they put the Legion Go buttons on the top left and right instead of the start and select. There were so many times where I pressed that while playing Spider-Man, and I ended up getting capped in the back of my head because I pressed the Legion space button opposed to start while trying to go somewhere else or if I was busy. And yeah, that is super annoying, and I never see myself getting used to that. But the best thing about the Lenovo Legion Go is the fact that you can detach the controllers. You can actually just have one screen, set it on a table, and play with any controller you want. And heck, there are even cases online that support only the screen. The most important thing about the Legion Go is not the fact that it's a competitor to the ROG Ally and the Steam Deck. This thing is a freaking competitor to the iPad at this point. It's way more powerful and it is so much smaller, but it's not that small. It's 8.8 inches. That's a pretty big screen. But as you can tell, I'm excited about getting the Legion Go. I like any kind of gaming hardware, or just hardware in general. I think it's a fun thing to have a new system and to try it out. But I do love the Legion Go screen as well. It just amps me up to try different racing titles on this. And I just cannot wait to try more games and let you know exactly how they work on the Legion Go in comparison to the ROG Ally. But yes, if you are asking the question, I did try FPS mode with the right Legion Joy-Con, or whatever they want to call it. It works pretty damn good. I'm going to try Doom Eternal with it because that's actually the main thing I wanted to try with the FPS mode on the detachable controller. So I can't wait to try that. But I intended to make comparison videos between the ROG Ally and the Legion Go initially. So I'm going to do that 100%. But it's only going to be with the original ROG Ally since I don't have the X. It would be a lot more interesting to try the X, but it was one or the other. And I already have an original ROG Ally. Like I said, I'm not going to get the X. That X belonged to a family member, but with this Legion Go, I'll be able to test out more games and hopefully we'll have a lot of fun with it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a good one. Later.